Hello family, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for taking time to watch this video. Today it's strictly about eyeshadows. I've been getting a lot of requests for further videos on eyeshadows. So today I just said let me come out and talk about how I apply my eyeshadows, and feel free to glean one or two things that you can use for your own regimen. Let's get right into it. So the first thing that I want to talk to you about is where to place your eyeshadows. With me, I've got my brushes, the tools for the trade, and I've got different eyeshadow palettes. I've got the Nice palette. It's got shimmery eyeshadows and it's got matte eyeshadows. By shimmery eyeshadows, I mean eyeshadows that have got a shine to them. Like this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. And I've got matte eyeshadows that don't shine, that don't have a shimmer. Like this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. So this is a complete palette. Make sure when you're buying your palette, you're buying shimmery eyeshadow as well as matte eyeshadows. I've also got this palette which has shimmery eyeshadows as well as matte eyeshadows. I've also got this palette which has got shimmery eyeshadows and matte eyeshadows. If you notice, these are the grays and the purples. And in this palette I've got the yellows, I've got the oranges, and in this palette I've got the purples and the pinks. So when you're buying an eyeshadow palette, as I spoke to earlier on, you have to make sure that you're getting the shimmery eyeshadows as well as the matte eyeshadows. Make sure you've got the browns, the oranges that you will use for your transition colors. So I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start right from the start. After I do my eyebrows, I go in with a concealer. I'm sure we all know this type of concealer. It's very affordable on the market, or any other concealer that you have. I've got this concealer that is my skin tone. I use it to cover the whole of my lid. Why? Because I'm a little bit darker on my eyelid. So I use this concealer to even out the skin tone on my eyelid. And after I use this concealer, I come in with a loose powder to set the concealer. The concealer is liquid in consistency, so I don't want it to move. I use a loose powder to set the concealer. If you haven't watched my other video, please feel free to check it right here. I'm linking it right there. You'll see how I set with a loose powder. So after I've set my concealer with the loose powder, I then come in. I start with this one to even out my complexion on my eyelids. Then I go to this one. This is a lighter concealer. If you see the shades, they are very different. This is the one that is close to my skin tone. I use this to even out my eyelid. Then I come in with this one. It's almost spent. You see how much I love it. I come in with this one and I just put it only on my lid, this area. I come in with this one. After I've set with the loose powder, I come in with this one. Why am I coming in with this one? You can either use a primer. I use this one so that the eyeshadows have somewhere to stick to, and so that the color of the eyeshadow can really come out the way it is supposed to come out. So after I've put in this concealer, I use my favorite brush, my flat topped brush. Open the concealer, squeeze it out, put it on top of my eyelid only. Eyelid, this area from here to here. Then I come in with this brush as I dab. Remember, we are not moving the product. We want to dab it and press it in so that it sits. So I come in with this brush. It's a flat top brush. It's a dense brush. I come in with this brush to spread my concealer. After I've spread my concealer, I then take this brush. It's a fluffy brush. I love this one. This is my favorite brush. If I lose this one, well, there will always be peace in the house, but for that short while, Mommy wants a brush. So I come in with this fluffy blending brush, and I take in any of the matte eyeshadows. Don't you go using shimmery eyeshadows on with this brush. We use this brush as bridge, as a transition between the eyelid and my brow bone right there. You can feel your brow bone here, right? So I use this one in this deep area, in the crease of my eye. I'll use this brush. After I have taken any, you can see I use this palette so much. I normally come in with Blazing, this color, or Oud or Amber. If you notice, these are matte eyeshadows that I come in with. Not too bright. These are matte eyeshadows that I come in with. I merely dab, shake off excess, and spread it gently. Just brush it lightly in circular motion, as I indicated in my previous video. Feel free to watch that one. After I'm finished with my brush, my favorite brush in the whole wide world, I'll take this angled brush. This angled brush, I love this angled brush. Why? Because when I want to apply any of my eyeshadows, it really gets into the crease of my eye because of its angle. So I take this angled brush, and that I love to use shimmery eyeshadows on my lid, on the inner corner, or as I have applied it in the middle of my lid here. I've got 3 colors. I made use of this color. Mark didn't name their eyeshadows from this palette. I've got this light matte color. I've just used it in the inner part of my eye. This one. This is what I'm wearing today, because I was going for a workshop. So I just decided to use a matte color instead inside. So you can feel free to use the matte or the shimmery on the lid. It's fine. So I used the matte color, this color, right? Or you can come in with a shimmery one, but the shimmery one should not be darkest. There should be a transition, a gradient, a flow to say it should be light, then the darker eyeshadows go right at the end. Okay, so if I hadn't used this color, I was going to use a shimmery eyeshadow. I was going to use this color, Angelic, as my inner lid eyeshadow. So how do you apply? You simply take in with your brush, right? Dip it in there, shake, look some eyeshadow, press on the loose eyeshadow, and then you simply press on top of the eyelid. Remember, we have put in our concealer that we want to hold the eyeshadow. So I simply press, press, dab. Don't poke into your eye. Okay, you simply dab, right? I love to put 3 eyeshadows on my eye. Feel free to use 2. I love to use 3 or 4, including the transition color. So you put in a shimmery eyeshadow or a matte eyeshadow in the inner part of the eye. Then for the middle part of the eye, you can, it just depends with what you're wearing. I'm wearing a floral skirt, and it's got shades of pink, it's got shades of maroon. So I take in a shimmery eyeshadow still on my lid, and I've put it right there, right? Application is just the same, but I then come in with this brush. It's got a gentle slope right there. It's a dense brush. It's not a fluffy brush. It's a dense brush, but it's got some sort of curve to it. This is the one that I use to apply the eyeshadow on the middle part of my eye. Remember, I'm putting my eyeshadow on top of my concealer. So it's going to really hold. It's going to stay put. It's just not going to be moving everywhere. because it's being held by the concealer or an eye primer of your choice. Lastly, I love to use this brush. It's a dense brush. It's a bit angled. It's rounded. I don't know if the camera can pick it up. It's rounded, okay? And it's a dense brush, right? I love to use this, okay? I've got Any Lady palette right here. I love to use this darker eyeshadow on the outer part of my eye. In this case, I've used this darker one and I've mixed it with this for the outer part of my eye. I'm not using an overly shimmery eyeshadow on the outer part of my eye. Hi, no. Shimmer stays inner middle. No shimmer on the outer part of the eye. Don't be doing a rainbow in, out with that shimmery powder. If I catch you. Okay, that's why we're teaching each other. I'm also learning. We spoke about the inner part of the eye, the middle part of the eye, and the outer part of the eye. Feel free to use black on the outer, really the outer corners where you're forming a V. I keep on referring to my previous video that I have uploaded in this video. Please feel free to watch it. It will show you how I was applying these eyeshadows in my previous video. Then, the fun part. I love to use a highlighter on my brow bone because that's the area that's naturally lighter. So you can come in with any highlighter of your choice. Or you feel free to experiment, but depending with your complexion. Don't be using this as your highlighter. No. So that's it about this video. Remember, we've got the inner part where we use the matte eyeshadow. We've got the transition part that joins the eyelid and the brow bone area. We use a matte eyeshadow. And for the transition colors, try to stick to the browns, the pale oranges, even this color. When it applies on your lid, it comes out really nicely. But be sure not to apply too much. And you blend. It's nighttime. It's almost 9 hours since I've applied the eyeshadow on my eyes. And it's still, I'd like to believe it's still intact, right? Why? Because of the concealer that I've put to hold the eyeshadows. So feel free to make use of a concealer, feel free to make use of a primer for your eyes that will hold your eyeshadow in place. And when you are mixing these, make sure there is a gradient. You're starting with a lighter one, then a slightly darker one, then the darkest one. There should be a gradient. So thank you so much for watching this video. I am so happy that you made it this far. Till the next video, remain safe and gold.